Obamacare. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Stupid people are ruining America.
The president just wants to take care of you. He just doesn't think you're able to do it for yourself.
There's a very thin line between communism, progressivism, Marxism, socialism.
The empire will strike back.
You still don't know that this was political.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of America Our Way. I am your host, Dustin Hoyt, here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. We have a very, very exciting show this week. You'll never guess who's with me. It is the queen of political commentary comedy videos herself, Julie Borowski. Julie, say hello to everyone.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me on.
Of course, anytime. I'm super excited. I love what you do. For those of you who don't know Julie, she does fantastic YouTube videos about current events, all kinds of stuff, any social issues, political issues that come to mind that are in public space. She does awesome videos about it. My favorite being the Sriracha video. If you haven't seen it, I recommend all of you look her up on Facebook. I linked her stuff several times on the America Our Way page, America Our Way. At facebook.com/America Our Way. It's all up there. You can click on her page and her videos are there. You can also find her on YouTube by searching her name and check those out. Now, Julie,
Yes.
What got you into these YouTube videos? What spawned this brilliance?
Okay, I guess it's kind of a long story, but I was a Ron Paul supporter. I got really involved into the movement in 2007, but I started a YouTube channel in 2011. It was right after one of the presidential debates, and Ron Paul didn't get enough speaking time. He only got like a couple minutes, and I was frustrated. And for a few years, I had been watching Ron Paul supporters on YouTube, Jack Hunter, Rachel Mills. So I kind of decided, hey, maybe I could give this a shot and just talk about Ron Paul on YouTube. I thought I'd probably just put out a couple videos, and that would be it. But people kept watching, and I think as I've gone on to make more, I've kind of gotten a little bit more wackier and crazy and just off the wall, but I'm trying to promote the message of liberty.
And honestly, I think you do a fantastic job doing that. Again, people, check out her videos. They're awesome. One of the things that I think probably the liberty movement and the purple conservatives have probably the biggest problem with is taking messaging and making it something simple, because it's really hard to go up to the Joe Plumber, John Everyman or whatever and be like, you need to read more Bastiat or something. I mean, it's not really going to go over. So you were a Ron Paul supporter, and I know you've been on Fox News several times, right?
Oh yeah, Fox Business News. I have been.
Fox Business News. I love what they're doing over there with the independents and everything, and it's fantastic. So what do you work in the liberty movement, though, in your everyday life, too, as opposed to just your YouTube persona, right?
Yeah, I work at FreedomWorks. I've been there since 2010. I was an intern there first. I'm a policy analyst, so I analyze policy for a living. A lot of analyzing and kind of researching bills and tracking them on the Hill, stuff like that, writing blog posts, op-eds. That's my day job. I just do YouTube on the side, but I love them both.
It's very cool. I mean, FreedomWorks, obviously one of the bigger, better freedom operations out there. I mean, and they do a good job of reaching out to conservatives as well, as opposed to just being fragmented in any way. They're very broad appeal and do a good job out there. So ladies and gents at home, Julie's going to join us for the duration of the show, and we're going to talk about a lot of the important stuff that's been happening this week. Shortly, just a short while ago, we had a bill on the House side of Congress. Excuse me, I'm fumbling. The spending bill, the $1.1 trillion spending bill that just passed in the House that everybody was complaining about, it passed. It actually passed by a narrow margin. Politico's breaking it, Twitter's breaking it, 219 to 206, so it was just under the wire. Now, for those of you who have been, paying attention and monitoring it and everything, it is it is an interesting bill because it does a lot more than just a CR like we've seen in the recent past. It's a big omnibus spending bill, which was one of the things that John Boehner rails and rails and rails against. And so he came out and he said a little bit about what he wanted to do and everything. But I think I'm going to play this from yesterday where he and another Republican from the House were talking about what this bill has in it according to the GOP.
Without a threat of a government shutdown, this sets up a direct challenge to the president's unilateral actions on immigration when we have new majorities in both chambers of Congress. This is all part of preparing for a new American Congress, which will bring new opportunities to help middle-class families and get our economy moving again.
The government funding bill that we're going to be taking up tomorrow actually reduces the IRS's budget by more than $340 million. It cuts the EPA's staffing levels to a point lower than they were going back to the 1980s. It does a number of other important things. It actually stops the EPA from trying to regulate lead, something that's led to a run on ammunition all across the country. It's hard to even find ammo at a Walmart because of the threat of the EPA regulating lead in firearm ammunition. And so we block the EPA from doing that. There are a number of other provisions that are in, but something else that is ultimately a component of this legislation is that it finally sets up a battle in just a few weeks with the president on immigration and his attempt at illegal action when we have a Republican Senate where we can actually move legislation through the process that puts a check on this president and the things he's trying to do that are illegal.
Okay, so the Republicans have been saying, oh, this is all about getting ready for immigration. This is all about getting ready for immigration. And in reality, the Republicans used this big spending bill because they knew that it would have a better chance of passing as opposed to a continuing resolution where they just try to fund the government for a little while and then pass their own spending bill in January when they get control, or February after they appoint committee chairs and everything for the Republican Senate. What was most interesting about this, I think, is that they've been pushing this kind of narrative about, this $1.1 trillion sets us up to fight on immigration, almost like they're trying to get Republicans, conservatives, to support this bill. Notably, like I said before, this passed 219 to 206. There were many Republicans that were against this bill. Some of the better ones, like Justin Amash out of Michigan, that I'm always talking about, Thomas Massey, Jim Jordan, Bachman, Louis Gohmert from Texas, lots of folks. Julie, do you have a take on this $1.1 trillion behemoth that was just rammed through?
I think it's just a bad bill. It was 1,600 pages. It was crafted in secret. I mean, it was very little time to even debate it. I'm sure no one had time to read it at all, what was actually in the bill. It's terrible, and there's a lot of bad stuff in there. One of the most disappointing things for me was, you mentioned Rep. Thomas Massey. One of his amendments to actually rein in the NSA was taken out. I think there's another amendment in there that Justin Amash mentioned to actually increase the power to the NSA, which is bad. There's all kinds of just bad things. It's over $1 trillion of spending. I mean, they can talk about immigration all they want to, but still, this is an overall net bad bill.
Exactly, and it seems to me, like I said a minute ago, it's like they were just trying to put a positive spin on what ultimately is a bad bill. Notably, he was like, oh, we're going to get your ammo back. They're trying to ban lead, the EPA, and the evil bureaucracies. And I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to be happy if ammo prices drop, but I think probably in the long run, this bill's going to be bad. Now I'm going to play one of the queens herself, Nancy Pelosi, had something to say about it. It's a short clip, bear with us, but we're going to play it anyway.
Whatever you think of them, they have no place on an appropriations bill. Why bring these up?
Now, she is talking about the parts of this bill that are almost poison pill, like stuff the Republicans wanted to ram through because they knew it would pass, and she's going to kind of get into a little bit of what she has a problem with.
On an appropriations bill. Well, I'll answer the question. Why bring them up on an appropriations bill is because they can't take the light of day. These are really earmarks. To have these short-term continuing resolutions when it comes to our national security is not a responsible thing to do.
Now, it's funny because she's, CR this, CR that, and, there was a CR that the House passed before this bill to give the Senate a couple of days to pass the spending bill, and the House is going to go home. So the House has basically handed this bill, everything that was in it, all the nasty parts, and said, here you go, pass it, we're going home. And like Julie was saying, nobody has had time to read it. I mean, you've had a few, if you've liked your congressman's pages on Facebook, or if you've liked some congressman's pages, you've seen picture after picture of congressmen sitting alone at a table dutifully reading the bill and trying to crunch through it. And it's really interesting because you've got, there was a good example earlier, let me find it here, Congressman Jared Polis. He actually went through big portions of the bill, and he pointed out just a couple of things in like the first half that he had a problem with, and he's got like a messed up faux hawk in his picture to, I guess, make him look disgruntled, like he was working hard. Like Julie said, it's a 1,603-page bill, and one of the most notable parts is and this is why they were calling it a cromnibus bill, because it's crony omnibus. $475 million were requested to pay for oil and gas research. He's like, and this congressman, props to him, he said, why are we subsidizing one of the most profitable industries on the planet instead of making them pay for their own research? This bill is going to increase fossil fuel subsidies by an additional $95.5 million for the oil and gas industry. Number two, it allows members of Congress to use taxpayer funds to lease cars to the tune of $1,000 per month per car. Per car. $1,000 per month per car. So they can rent several very nice luxury vehicles for themselves per month on your dime. And like he made a quip here, you can expect members of Congress to drive around nice cars on your dime. Exactly. Number three, $4 million to dispose of obsolete vessels in the National Defense Reserve Fleet of the Maritime Administration. And he asks valid questions that every average American would probably ask. Why can't we sell these vessels, or even for scrap, and make money for the taxpayers? It's a good question. He also says there's $1 million in the bill to compensate ranchers for livestock killed by wolves. So apparently, if a wolf kills your livestock, the federal government should pay for it. Taxpayers don't pay for livestock killed by coyotes, which kill far more. Why should we all be forced to reimburse the cost of a privately owned livestock killed by wolves? Apparently, farmers who lost livestock to wolves have better lobbyists than farmers who lost livestock to coyotes. Again, just another portion of this bill that is spending taxpayer dollars on private businesses to try and make their industries more profitable. And it goes on from there. This one probably I thought was the worst. The USDA proposed saving taxpayers $39 million by closing 250 unstaffed or underutilized farm service offices. FSA, farm service agencies. There are currently 2,500 offices across the country, and this bill prohibits these people, the USDA, from closing the offices that aren't used and forces them to stay open. And this is just 5 things that he got from reading half the bill, not even the whole bill, just half of it. And so you can kind of see this Republican spending bill is more or less the same, and this is kind of why people like me, and I'm sure Julie, get frustrated when Republicans take power claiming small government, and then their spending bills have stuff like this in it. Right, Julie? I mean, am I off mark here?
No, you're exactly right. I think there's all kinds of pet projects in this bill, and that was kind of the purpose of introducing this so late, this huge bill. All these pet projects